A report by Human Rights Watch has revealed that civil and political rights are deteriorating in Cambodia. It comes off the back of the arrests of multiple opposition members and a clampdown on the press. All domestic media is now under government control. Prime Minister Hun Sen is one of the world's longest-serving leaders, and critics say he's attempting to extend his power. Elections don't take place until next year, but the crackdown has forced half of the main opposition party to flee. Well, one person who's among the politicians who fled is Sam Rainsy. He's been in exile since 2015 and is the former president of the Cambodia National Rescue Party. He joins me now from Paris. I thank you very much for joining us, Sam. By imprisoning Kem Sokha, what message is Prime Minister Hun Sen trying to give to you and all the other opposition leaders in the country?
Prime Minister Hun Sen wants to disrupt the electoral process. We are scheduled to have election next year in less than 10 months. He knows that he would lose those elections. It is why he has arrested the opposition leader, and he is arresting more opposition members of parliament. So there is no possibility of a free, fair competition. Therefore, he can be assured to win without any challenger.
He's been in power for 32 years. He has been elected in by and large free and fair elections in the past. With that in mind, to what extent is Cambodia a democracy right now?
No, Hun Sen has never been elected democratically. The first ever democratic elections that were held in Cambodia was organized by the United Nations in 1993. And then Hun Sen lost, his party lost the election. Then he staged a coup d'etat a few years later, 1997. He staged a coup d'etat to seize all power. And then he manipulated all subsequent elections to win the last elections. But the popular support for the opposition, the democratic opposition that has been united for the first time in Cambodia, we have a united democratic opposition party, and this party is gaining ground at the last election. In spite of many irregularities, the two parties came neck and neck, and next election, if they were held properly, the opposition will probably win. It is why Hun Sen wants now to dissolve the opposition party after arresting many and more opposition members of parliament.
Do you think that if you had to go back today, he would arrest you?
Definitely, but we expect the international community to put pressure on the current government in Cambodia, because Cambodia is a very small country, very dependent on international assistance. Therefore, the international community can put pressure on the Cambodian government to force the Cambodian government to release the opposition leader and to allow the situation to return to normal so that acceptable elections can be held.
How much can the international community really do when China is Cambodia's main backer and China is standing by Hun Sen?
China cannot replace the rest of the world. For instance, in terms of market for Cambodia's export, China does not buy anything from Cambodia. It is the West, mainly the United States and the European Union, that buy nearly all Cambodian exports. Therefore, the West, the democratic world, can definitely put pressure on the Hun Sen government to respect human rights and democratic principles.
Yeah, it's interesting because because he seems to frame both you and Kem Sokha as sort of Western puppets. Kem Sokha's charge is treason. The state calls him a traitor and a rebel and say he's trying to seize power in a color revolution with American help. Now, let me ask you clearly, might there be maybe just a little germ of truth to it, given that as part of their evidence, they have a video of him recorded in 2013 in which he discusses a strategy to win power with the help of American experts. Might there be a germ of truth to it? Yes, it's heavy-handed. Yes, Hun Sen is paranoid. Yes, he's smearing you guys and labeling you. But might there be a little kernel of truth?
No, not at all. This is totally ridiculous because the majority of the Cambodian people, especially the youth that represent 70% of the population who are under 30-year-old, they are fed up with Hun Sen. Since they were born, they have only known Hun Sen, and they have seen the rest of the world changing for the better, while Cambodia remains one of the poorest countries in the world, one of the most corrupt countries in the world, a country where there are a lot of social injustices. So people are fed up with Hun Sen, and you can understand that we want a change, but a peaceful change and democratic change through a free and fair election. It is not a crime to ask for free and fair election. It is not a crime to campaign for human rights, for democratic principles. And for doing this, we need support from like-minded people from the US, from Europe, from Australia, from Japan. It is not a crime for Democrats all over the world to link up. Hun Sen ridiculously talk about treason. It is not a matter of treason because we share the same values with other Democrats. Those are universal values. So wanting a democratic change with support of Democrats all over the world is not a crime as long as what we are doing is peaceful, which is totally peaceful.
Wanting Western countries to put pressure on Cambodia might mean that they decide to use sanctions as a tool of pressure. Wouldn't sanctions hurt the Cambodian people? Because as you said, it's a poor country. Economically, it's not doing too well. So might that be counterproductive when it comes to sanctions against Cambodia?
Yes, we understand that all dictators, they take their people hostage. But we don't want sanctions that would hurt the ordinary people. We want sanctions that hurt, that target the leaders, the top leaders. For instance, to freeze their assets because they have sent their ill-gotten money, corruption money, to bank accounts in the United States, in Australia. Now they are violating human rights, they are killing people. Therefore, sanctions should target them. There should be a visa ban, not allow them to travel freely, to enjoy their ill-gotten money. On the contrary, we should freeze their assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so far the CNRP and other opposition have organized protests in Paris, where you are, in the United States, in Australia, in many places around the world in the diaspora, but they've explicitly refrained from calling for protests in Cambodia itself, in Phnom Penh, in other cities. Is it because you think they fear a bloodbath? Is it that bad?
Yes, because we face blackmail. If we call for a protest in Cambodia, it would be the Cambodian people inside Cambodia who will suffer from a brutal and possibly bloody crackdown. So we have to be careful, knowing that the Cambodian people inside Cambodia are held hostage by the current government. But we continue to protest all over the world where there are Cambodian diasporas to attract the world attention on the deteriorating situation in Cambodia.
Sir, it's been a pleasure having you on the Newsmakers. Sam Rainsy, I thank you very much for joining us.